When it comes to setting New Year's resolutions, it can either feel really exciting or like what's the point? Because most of us don't stick with them for more than 2 weeks anyway. And they can actually make us feel worse because once we've again broken a promise to ourselves and quit on something important, we can just feel defeated. However, because January 1st is a fresh start on a new calendar year, it can feel like a great time to reset and refocus on making a lasting positive change. So as much as it may feel tempting to ditch New Year's resolutions altogether, I really believe in the power of goal setting, and I do still think that there's something special about starting the new year off focused on what we really want to achieve and create. So I put together a list of tips and ideas that can help you not only set meaningful goals, but actually stick with them for more than a couple weeks past the new year. These 4 tips are things that I actually do and have found to be really effective. You can do them all in order, or you can start by choosing one of these tips that really appeals to you and give it a try. All right, let's get started. Number 1, we're going to do something called Dream Year Brainstorming. Okay, so you're going to take out a pen and a piece of paper or open a Word document on your computer. Personally, I feel like there's extra magic to writing things by hand. For me anyways, it just feels like my mind absorbs things so much more when I write them out myself. But either way is fine. So without thinking too much about this or analyzing what's possible and what's not and what you realistically could do with the time, money, and education you have now, you're going to write out 30 things you'd want to have, do, or be in the next 12 months. I know 30 sounds like a lot, but this is just about getting the ideas flowing. There's no right or wrong here. No one but you is going to be looking at this list. And I really do believe that a lot of the answers to what we really want in life and how to get them lie within ourselves. Because you know yourself 10 times better than even your closest family member or friend. So let the ideas flow out onto the paper without judgment. An example of your list could look like this. I want a new bike. I want to learn to speak conversational Portuguese. I want to renovate my kitchen. I want to quit drinking coffee. I want to lose 15 pounds. I want to create a system to keep all of my clothes organized. I want to save a $20,000 emergency fund. I want to volunteer at an animal shelter. I want to write a recipe book. And basically, you just keep going until you get to 30 items. After 15 or 20, you might find it challenging, but just put something. Even if they seem small, like I want to have time to paint my nails once per week and keep them looking nice all year. Again, no one is judging you on this list, so don't worry if it feels silly to write some of these items down. Just be as honest with yourself as you possibly can be. This brainstorming list is really important for the next part, which will help you get clear on what you really want most, and what will help to make a lot of the goals on your list much more likely to come true. Okay, so tip number 2, which is actually my favorite, I think this is really where the magic happens. You're going to examine your list and really study it to see if you can find a common thread or two in all of the things you've written down. Do this when you have at least 30 minutes to an hour and have a clear mind. Maybe go make a cup of tea and light a candle, put on some relaxing music, and sit down with your list and give this 100% of your focus. I'm going to use the made-up list from earlier to show you how to do the next step. We are looking for the goal underneath the goals. This is something that if you achieved it, would make many of the other goals more likely to happen. So a common thread from the list I provided earlier would be that writing a recipe book, volunteering at an animal shelter, creating a system to keep my clothes organized, and learning to speak Portuguese. What they have in common, the one thing all of these would require, is more free time than I have now. So just putting them on a to-do list on January 1st isn't enough to make them happen because my life and schedule doesn't currently support these things actually coming true. So the goal underneath these goals is to learn to manage my time better in order to create the time required to focus on these other goals. Because if I just keep everything in my life as it is and say that on January 1st, I'm going to start doing all of these things, it's just not going to happen, no matter how good my intentions are or how motivated I feel. You can't just keep adding things to your to-do list and expecting them to get done when you only have the same 24 hours each day. So instead of saying, I'm going to learn to speak a new language this year, and then just being disappointed in yourself next December that you never did it, you can actually take the practical steps of creating a realistic schedule starting now. Otherwise, it's just a wish or a dream and not something that's actually going to happen. So improved time management is your real objective before you can even work on the other goals that would require more free time from you. On someone else's list, they may find that the common thread is that they need more money in order to make most of the things on their list possible. The vacation, the gym membership, and the tennis lessons they all want cost money, and it's more money than they have available right now. So their goal beneath the goal would be to learn to budget better and make an actionable plan to save and earn more money. But we'll go back to our time management example. Now that you've identified that you need to carve out more time for yourself, you have something actionable to work on. You can get really specific. How many hours per week will you need to practice the new language? How long will it take you to create the organized system you want for your clothing? How many hours per month do you want to volunteer at the animal shelter? And what are you currently doing that you need to stop doing or do less of in order to make that time? If you find that time restraints are a common thread of the goals you've written on your list, something that you can start doing today is write a list of what you are honestly spending your time on hour by hour. This is sort of the opposite of a to-do list and can show you realistically what you're spending your time on and what you can cut out. I recommend anyone trying this because it can be a real eye-opener and wake-up call as to where your time is really going each day. Trust me, this can be shocking. So take a piece of paper, say you wake up at 7 a.m. Write out on the left-hand side vertically 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., all the way down the page until 10 p.m. or whenever you go to sleep. And next to each hour, write down a brief description of what you did that hour. So I would write right now, recorded audio to upload online. And maybe ate lunch after that. Maybe you look at your list and you're watching TV at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and 10 p.m. There's 3 hours. Even if one of those hours per week was dedicated to learning that new language, think of the progress that you would make. I like to think about allocating time in the same way that you would think about budgeting money. What may happen when you budget your time is that you realize you don't have the time to stick to all of these goals, and that's okay. That's just being realistic. Choose one or two that would really mean the most to you. There's always next year. You don't need to make everything happen in your life at once. This is where you can prioritize and choose where to really put your focus this year. You might cut that list of 30 items down to your top 5 for the year. Asking yourself which of these would really make me happiest to be, do, or have. The reason I really like doing this, finding the quote-unquote goal beneath the goals, is it takes the mystery out of the why do I keep saying I'm going to do this and then not doing it? Because that's when we beat ourselves up and we feel like total failures. This takes the mystery out of that and helps you focus instead on practical solutions and creating an actionable plan. A goal that I have for the new year is something that I've started the past few months and has made a huge difference on my productivity, time management, and mental clarity. And that is to continue to write my daily action plan down in a physical planner. I used to try to use apps for this, and it just isn't the same as writing things out by hand. I now keep all of my appointments, to-do actions, and daily notes in a handwritten planner that I created myself using a graph paper notebook. Tip number 3, tiny daily actions. There is something so powerful about repetition. If you can make yourself take the same 5 or 10 minute action every single day for 30 days, by the end of those 30 days, that habit will be so ingrained in you that you won't even feel like it requires any effort or energy anymore. For example, if you keep meaning to have a healthy breakfast but end up constantly running out of time in the morning, then just grabbing something not so healthy in a rush on your way to work, the simple act of blending up your smoothie the night before and putting it in your fridge ready to drink the next morning can solve that entire issue and give you that healthy start to your day that you've been wanting. It's a tiny 5-minute action that can have a huge impact on your health and make you feel proud of yourself for creating a positive change. What happens a lot of the time in goal setting is we think really big and we want to make massive changes like losing 40 pounds and forget that the tiny little cumulative changes are what can really lead us to that big change. Ask yourself right now, what is one thing that you could do 7 days per week for 10 minutes that would make a really big difference in the quality of your life if you stuck with it forever? Maybe you wake up in the morning and your kitchen is a mess and it makes you feel bad looking at it. Could you set your kitchen timer for 10 minutes before bed each night and do a quick kitchen tidy? You'd be surprised how much you can actually get done in 10 minutes. Or a 10-minute power walk around the block can be such a great way to start your day. The point of this is to make the habit permanent and set it on autopilot in your life. So I want you to do it every single day. No breaks. That's why it's really important to keep it only to 5 or 10 minutes. It needs to be doable. The hidden benefit of this is that it boosts your self-esteem and encourages you to build upon that one positive habit. After 3 months of doing that one thing, you may want to add on one more right after it. And then do that 5-minute task as well every single day until it's also routine for you. Do not try to do 10 different 10-minute tasks every day at once because it just requires too much time and energy and makes it that much more likely for you to not stick with any of them. Remember, baby steps are the key to success. Tip number 4, track your progress. This can be as simple as having a whiteboard or a calendar and ticking off each day that you did what you set out to do. There is something so empowering about seeing a string of 5 or 10 days in a row on the calendar that you did something you said you were going to do. I think of it like when kids get a gold sticker at school for completing a task. They're so proud of themselves. Give yourself that feeling. Give yourself a gold star each time you do what you set out to do. It will also give you that positive reinforcement that you may need. And you can see that even though you've said you were going to stick with things in the past and haven't, this time you actually are. You did it. So enjoy that good feeling because you've earned it. I hope these tips were helpful for you, and I wish you success and happiness in the new year and beyond. Find me on Instagram at MelissaAlexandria01, and I'll see you next time.